Buenas, buenas, buenas a todos, and welcome back to the Chancleta Generation Podcast, everyone. It is beginning to cool down here in the US, and it's nice to see the fall. I know everybody's like with their fall stuff, so it's nice to see that the episodes are still going. We're getting really deep into the season now. We have some awesome guests waiting for you for the rest of the season. And let's get started. Everyone, I'm sure you know by now, I am Clemencia, and I am the founder of Moyer Studio and your host. And I am used to doing some advertising campaigns for Latinos. And I am actually talking to another person here in marketing today. One of the things that we've always been talking about is, of course, how important it is to communicate with Latinos, to reach out to Latinos. And sometimes we keep wondering if it is so important to brands and organizations to do so. It's important to us that we're part of the community. How important is it also to brands and organizations? And that is something that we're going to be discussing today, because we have someone with us that has reached out to Latinos in many different ways, and we're going to learn how. And now she's using those same different ways to help our community. Hello, Laura or Laura?
Either way, Clemencia is good. Laura, for you, since we're both Colombian, I think that would be fitting.
Great. I have a fellow Colombian here, Laura Estefeen. Very, very nice to have you with us today. Welcome, welcome.
Thank you so much for having me and having this platform for everybody to listen about our community. So very excited to be here.
Me too. All right. So let's hear a little bit more about Laura. So Laura is currently the Marketing and Communications Manager at the Latin American Association, LAA. In this role, Laura oversees the creation of content for all channels, supports fundraising efforts, and develops impact storytelling videos to increase the awareness of the organization. I think we do the same thing. Prior to joining the LAA, Laura worked for the Atlanta Braves, leading the efforts of the Los Bravos brand, the Spanish brand of the team. During her time at the Braves, the Los Bravos social channels led across all MLB Spanish language accounts in engagement and growth for 3 seasons in a row, and were ranked top 5 across MLB on Instagram. Nice work. Laura holds a BA in sports management and a master's degree in marketing. Laura came to the United States in 2014 with a full ride athletic scholarship with the Kennesaw State women's golf team. Wow. She originally is from Bogota, Colombia, but after 10 years of living in Georgia, she considers Atlanta her second home. Yes, love having some Colombian power today. Yes,
that's right. Yes. We are everywhere.
Yes, we are. And you know, it's funny because we were just talking how we had another podcast with another fellow Colombian, Harold, about the importance of sports for Latinos, and how sometimes that is not as exploited as much, because Latinos do love their sports. And that's such an easy way to reach out to them.
Yeah, we love sports. We are very passionate, not only in sports, but in life in general. So that is one piece of our world that people need to know more about, for sure.
Yeah. So tell me how you got involved. So you have a sports background, and then you got involved in marketing. How did that happen?
Well, they both connect. You know, I was always, as a young kid, I'm always, I've always been very curious, and I like to understand why people do certain things and how to motivate people to do certain things. And in a nutshell, that is, in very small ways what marketing can do. So, I always ask why. I like to understand the why behind a lot of things. And that led me to marketing, but that is not what led me really to sport. I come from a family of golfers. My dad and my grandpa and my uncle, all of my dad's side played golf.
Oh, wow.
Since we were really young. And I tried many different sports. And at the end of the day, golf was the one that caught my attention the most. When I first started playing golf, I found a really good group of friends, and my coach was extremely impactful in my life. And I just decided to stick with golf, and it was just a very fun sport. In Colombia, golf is not as huge as soccer or cycling, but it is pretty big. So I was, super excited to be a part of the sports world. And, that's just how I got into golf. And I really, really enjoyed playing golf. It taught me a lot. It stressed me a lot. Everybody that plays golf knows that the sport is very mind and mental driven. So it can be very taxing for the mind, but it's also, it teaches you a ton of things. So I've always been extremely grateful that my dad introduced me to sports. So when I came to the United States, I came on a golf scholarship through Kennesaw State University. That is an amazing school here in Georgia. And the reason why I came is because the United States obviously is really well known for student athletes and collegiate sports, and Colombia doesn't have that. So I wanted to continue my education while playing my sport. And thankfully, they were both able to mix. And I was able to get my degree for free, through my college scholarship. After that, just a lot of pieces connected, and I just keep loving sharing the love that I have for sports and how impactful it is for the younger generation.
That's so awesome, because in the other podcast, we were also talking about how much talent there is in Latin America that the U.S. could be hungry for, in terms of sports. But there's the resources that we have in Latin America are much more reduced, and it's becoming more and more commonplace to import the talent. Because if the talent's already there, you might as well just bring it over. And it's like, it's funny because it's like, it makes a lot of sense business-wise and in strategy-wise, and also, to grow the sport in your college. But then, in terms of society and politics, it's like so different. It's like, oh, yes, I am an immigrant and I was brought here on a scholarship. Like, people wanted me here. People wanted me to come here. And it's like,
yes, but I also wanted myself here. And I think that is super important, because it kind of changes the narrative of who we are and why we come here for.
Yeah.
So I wanted myself here, and I wanted to continue my education, because although I knew I could get an excellent education in Colombia, I wanted to be in a country that offers incredible opportunities in the sports world. So I think there is a benefit for both, for sure. And I think it's just a matter of keep growing that outside of Colombia and many other countries that love to come here.
Yeah, definitely. It's more about the recognition of the talent that immigrants have, and it's like, yeah, no, we're not here to like just take your jobs and whatever. There's like actually people that are very talented and they're doing awesome things. And it's like, we're talking about maybe baseball. It's like, there's so many Latinos in baseball right now, and they have brought so many more Latinos to watch the games now, because people want to see their people playing their games, and
that's right.
And it's such a huge market. And I think maybe sports is starting to see it a little bit more. And it's like the rest of the people and the brands need to start catching up here, because the more that you include Latinos in your marketing and in your strategy, the more Latinos are going to come and watch whatever you're doing or buy your products, because they see themselves in them. They see themselves represented. I mean, I don't know. You tell me. You're the marketing sports person.
Yeah, no, I fully agree with you. And It's like the Messi effect. How David Beckham came a while ago to grow MLS, and now Messi has grown it exponentially, and you see his impact, and it is something unbelievable for maybe people in the United States, but some of us that have followed Messi all the way through his time in Spain, or even at the beginning when he was very, very young in Argentina, you can understand where all of that jazz comes from. And when it comes to baseball, I worked in baseball for a few years after I graduated from college, and baseball is full of Latinos from the Caribbean, from Central America, from South America, but primarily from the Caribbean. And that is a very key important part of the sport. And I know that MLB recognizes that, and they're growing their efforts to keep pushing our cultura and our community out there beyond the countries and beyond music. It's more about, we all come in different colors, we all come in different shapes, we all come with different mentalities, but we are Latinos at the end of the day. And I know that the sports world understands that fully.
That's great. Do you find that even if the sports world understands that, are there still, challenges to overcome in that space?
Oh yeah, there definitely is a space for growth and a space for opening a conversation a little deeper about what does our impact mean in reality for all of the sports that we play in, because we are part of a lot of different sports. Even, NFL, it's not that many Latinos playing, but there are some Latinos playing in NFL. There is huge opportunities for growth and for expansion on the narrative. Beside, we're Latinos and we dance and we're fun. There are so many stories that they go through, and the connection to their families, the sacrifices that they all had to make to get to the point to where they are. So there is a deeper conversation that definitely could be had, but I think it's a matter of time when that conversation comes back. Like, there is for sure some challenges and some opportunities for growth that could be had.
Yeah, I feel like, this applies to sports, but this applies everywhere. It's like, if you want to grow your audience, you got to start targeting some new demographics. And, people are like, oh, let's go with young people. Let's go with women. What about the largest minority in the United States? How about that?
That's right.
How about we start
and you
there?
see, I think it starts with the language. I would love to see more sports, not only the ones that we Latinos like, but we like to see NFL in Spanish. We like to see basketball in Spanish. So if all of the sports could expand their coverage in Spanish beyond social media, would create such an impact, because there is nothing more exciting than seeing really any sport with a Spanish commentator. And if you've seen that out there, it is incredible and everybody loves it. So I think that makes it so much fun to watch in reality. So I think that is an opportunity for growth, and one of the challenges. We don't have a lot of Spanish coverages. I know in the last few years that has increased, but I would love to see a lot more. And I would love to see more engagement with our Latino community through all of the digital and traditional channels.
Definitely. And if you guys out there listening have not seen a soccer game narrated in Spanish, even if you don't understand the language, I invite you to watch it, because it's so much more exciting.
It is so much more exciting. It makes your experience fully different.
There's a lot of hyperventilating. There's a lot of screaming. There's a lot of ups and downs. And people get really into it. It's very exciting. So I highly recommend it. So I have not seen American football narrated in Spanish. I feel like I would probably be more excited to watch American football.
It is. I have seen some before the game interviews, and it is super fun. It is super fun.
I feel like I would be more interested on it if I watched it with like somebody like was really excited about it. Because to me, it's like
too.
such like stop and go and stop and go. And it's just like, oh, here comes this guy now. If it was like,
I will say yes. Yes, for sure. I totally agree. And it would make learning football, American football, much easier for us that didn't grow up with it around it. So it's taken me 10 years to learn it, but I'm slowly but surely getting there.
Yeah, and even golf, like, right? If we had more Latinos in golf, I feel like more Latinos would watch golf. Even if it's just like to watch a hero, right? Like, and I think like this is something that I see a lot of, like, kids, right? If there's children watching a sport and they see someone that looks like them, they want to go watch them some more. You know, they want to, like, if it's like a Latina golfer, there's little girls that are like, I want to go see her. I want to go see her play because she looks like me, and that could be me. And so it's so important also, like, for the growth of, well, obviously for the growth of little girls that, you know, that they can see that anything is possible, but also for the growth of, you know, your top lines. Your bottom line is growing because you're now having kids starting young on the sport that you offer. And I feel like sometimes that is so short-sighted. In more organizations need to do more of that. It's not just like, you know, a charity problem. This is not a charity thing. This is growing your bottom line. This is growing your audience. This is growing how much money you're making.
Yes, it's definitely a business strategy apart from that. But I will tell you from personal experience, that is what happened to me. I started to play golf, but there were two key Colombian players, one woman and one guy, Camilo Villegas and Maria Jose Uribe. When I was playing, when I was younger, they were both doing incredible things, and they were the image of golf in Colombia, and that I'm sure it inspired us all. Mm-hmm. Even till now, I follow Camilo Villegas, and I try to know everything that he is a part of because he has been an influential person in Colombian golf, and I think that makes a big impact. To your point, I think that having those key people and those key heroes that kind of lead the way and lead that conversation forward is super important for the younger generation to also understand the doors that are open when you play a sport, right? So I think that is another thing that sometimes gets, in my opinion, gets a little bit hidden. The sport of golf has opened all of my professional and career growth opportunities. You know, I get invited to tournaments and charity events that I wouldn't get invited if I didn't play golf, right? So that has opened my world incredibly, and I would love for the younger generation to never be afraid to play a sport or do it passionately, because it can open so many possibilities for you, and that just keeps, once one door is open for you, many more open for other people. So I think that is really the power of sports, especially when it started from a younger generation.
Yeah, I agree. And there's so many people that are like, oh, I know all these people from tennis, you know, from all my tennis network. It's just another way of networking for kids.
Yeah.
And you know, when we were talking in the last podcast, it was like, you know, Latino kids here in the US, they are less involved in sports than other demographics. And it's like, it's so important for Latino parents to like really make this an important part, because even if Latino parents don't have the network, they can open up the doors to bigger networks for their kids if they put them into sports. Sometimes, you know, sports can be expensive. Sports can be time consuming. You know, people are working. Totally get it. So, we gotta like work with that to try to see if more kids get more access to sports, at all kinds of levels. And even, I mean, like big organizations like the NBA and the MLS and the MLB, they got some funds to like try to get more Latino kids into their sports. So just a little note there, guys.
Definitely. Starting young, parents.
Yeah. So then tell me about the LAA. What made you transition there? What was what are you doing there? Tell me more.
Yes. So the Latin American Association is a nonprofit here in the state of Georgia, where I live, that helps Latinos in every step of the way. And we have 3 pillars that we like to focus on around our services. The first one is crisis intervention and stabilization. Our clients come from all different sorts of life, or all different stages. So some might come with food insecurity, some might come with immigration issues, some might come as victims of abuse. And that is our team of social workers helps them stabilize and get to a point where they can think about their next step past the week, right? Our second pillar is workforce development, and that is all about learning English, using your transferable skills that you brought from your own country, finding a job, working on your resume, all of that. And our goal is to keep growing the Latino population into the current workforce that we have here in the United States. There is a lot of need for workers, and Latinos are able and are capable of work. So our role is to connect those dots and make sure that Latinos have the resources to use the transferable skills that they have from their country and use them here, however possible. And that is another level of stabilization. And then our third pillar is entrepreneurship and empowerment for women. That is, pretty self-explanatory. A lot of women want to financially contribute to the household as well. And one way for them to do that is entrepreneurship. But our goal as well is to empower them to follow the path that they have and help as members of a family to push their family forward as well. So the mission of the LAA is beautiful. We impact around 19,000 people a year. And it's just been a very rewarding experience coming from the Atlanta Braves, where I used to work before. The Braves collaborate with the LAA on multiple locations throughout the year. A couple of weeks ago, we had a food distribution in collaboration with the Atlanta Braves, where 2 of their players that are Latino came to give food to our Latino families in Atlanta. That was just, it was very special when my 2 worlds from different times and different stages of my life blend, because it is very rewarding as well to see the Braves have such an impact in the Latino community here that has so much need. And that has been really great collaboration to keep growing with our internal staff at the LAA. My role at the LAA really is to tell the story behind all of those 3 pillars. I do not have direct contact with clients. When I talk to a client or a beneficiary of our services, it's when they're already at a stage where they're stable or they have achieved some sort of self-sufficiency, and I use their testimony to keep growing and keep telling the story of the Latin American Association, and not only the LAA, but how Latinos are impacting the state of Georgia. We have been in the United States for many thousands of years, and the story didn't just start in the Olympics in '96. It goes way past all of that time. So the goal at the LAA is to also kind of own the narrative of what the Latino impact is in the United States. So it's been a fun job that has taken me many places, and I am very excited for what's to come.
Nice. I mean, contrary to popular beliefs, Latinos are some of the hardest working people. And when they come here, they want to work. They don't want to, be supported by whatever. Like, they want to work. They want to have jobs. They want to earn their own money. They want to make themselves their own lives. And so That's a really important thing to really emphasize, because this is something that we talked about before in many other episodes. All we need is just a little bit of help, and then we just go off on our own. Because sometimes coming here by yourself, you don't know anyone. You just need a connection. You need an introduction. You need, and then you can go off on your own.
Yes, most recently, and I invite all of your readers and newcomers, if you haven't read it, I would love to send you this. Most recently, Bank of America came out with a Latino GDP report, and it talks about the incredible resilience of our community, and how that specific word, how resilient our community is why we are one of the strongest, if not the strongest minority in the United States. And our Latino GDP is, super high, and it's
the fifth in the world.
We're contributing a lot. So
it's the fifth in the world.
Exactly. So that tells you how resilient their community is, and how much they want to leave their foot on, the grounds that they walk and the state that they live in. Here in Georgia, we have the carpet capital of the world, the poultry community in Gainesville, the farmers down in South Georgia. It is incredibly impactful, what Latinos do in the state. So I think that is super important to keep elevating that messaging.
And in your marketing opinion, and I mean, I guess I'm just asking this question because I want to feel vindicated. Here we go. All right. So in your marketing expertise, what is the one thing, or maybe the top 3 things that are the most important when you're communicating with Latinos?
In my opinion, I would say culture is a big one, and that includes, family or traditions or customs, all of that stuff. Language is a big one, especially for immigrants. I have been in the United States for 10 years, but I still love to see everything in Spanish because it's still my first language. So things are easier for me in Spanish still after 10 years. So language is a big one. And there are kids that grew up here, that were born here, that come from Latino parents, and they might prefer to speak English. But when you use Spanglish, they connect more and they get related to the content. So that is also super important, and that connects to language. And then the third one, and this is probably my personal one, is, transparency and clarity. That is key for me. I hope that it is for many as well, and I would love to get your top 3. But definitely culture, language, and transparency are huge ones for me.
Yes, I feel vindicated. Yes.
Are we aligned?
I have not planted Laura in here. We have not prepared this. This was actually a real question. I feel exactly the same. Culture. Guys, if you are going to be talking to Latinos, first, culture, authenticity, which I think is what you meant by transparency.
Yes.
And language.
Exactly.
Those main things you need in order to be the most effective with Latinos. And I feel like it's still not there. And the main thing, and you tell me if you agree, the main thing is that you need more Latinos to be doing this. In order to do marketing and communications with Latinos, you need Latinos to do it.
Yes, I agree. And more Latinos need to be in decision-making positions, because we are on the bottom ground a lot of the times. But how do we build them up, and how do we scale all of the Latinos in corporate America, nonprofit, sports world, on everything, to get to those decision-making positions where they can start making impactful change, where they can also start teaching other leadership members of how our community is. One thing that I love to say is how business is done in the United States and how business is done in Latin America. In Colombia, you take somebody that's coming for business out for food first, and you ask them about their family, about their interest, and you get to know them on a personal matter. And then the next day, you're like, hey, about the business that we want to make. And since there is that built already trust, the trust already built, things flow differently. Here is different. Here is straight to business. Nobody asks you about family. And sometimes people get offended when you start asking too many personal questions because, there's the matter of privacy. So same with every culture. You're not going to go ask someone maybe from Asia about specific subjects and start hugging them and start doing all sorts of touchy things because that is not how their culture works. So when Latinos get to those leadership positions and there is that enseñanza that, people are getting taught how we do business, that is where the real impact goes. And that is where our community starts growing and where our impact keeps being shown more and more.
I fully agree with that. And also the knowledge of, we just talked about it, right? Representation is important, but what kind of representation is it? Just because I'm a little darker, you call it a day. You gotta do it right. You gotta know exactly who is gonna be representing the Latino community, because then people might just call out because they're gonna be like, oh, I see this is not authentic from miles away. Or they're just like, well, that's not really me. And Latinos are so different. And yes, it may mean more work, but it's worth it. And I think you've seen it yourself. Sports are starting to do it, and they're seeing their results from it. They're benefiting, they're growing their audiences, they're growing their bottom line. So why wouldn't it be a good business decision for other brands and organizations to do it right?
I wouldn't be able to tell you why.
I don't know. 5th largest GDP.
Yep.
In the world. Billions of dollars in purchasing power.
And we are one of the most educated communities as well. And with education also comes debt, but we are there and we are getting educated. We are getting the degrees to get to a level where we can get taken into consideration. So it's there. All of our, resume lines are there. We just need to be taken into consideration and we need to be elevated.
Yeah.
And given those opportunities.
Yeah. And everybody knows telling good stories is important, when you're trying to get to people's emotions and hearts. But it's how you tell a story, and are you respecting the story? People will tell if you have respect for the story and you have respect for the culture. Like you said, if you do something that is outside of the culture, people are immediately going to be like, ooh, it's just Anglo-Americans getting hugs. They're like, oh my God, what? And that's okay. Hey, everybody's got their thing. That's totally okay. That's your culture.
But that's where this whole conversation comes from, because it's about tolerating and respecting all of the different opinions that come to the table and then making decisions out of those.
Yeah.
That mindset that comes into place. So.
Yeah. And I think that everything has a place. Everything can live together. The people that hug can live right next to the people that don't hug, and the people that have hug, and the people that kiss, and the people that, whatever, they rub their noses, whatever. We can all live together in one place, and all those people can be communicated separately in a way that they all resonate with the message. Yes, it takes more work. Guess what? This is where marketing is going. It's so sub-segmented right now. I mean, you already see it in the digital world. We're doing Meta, we're doing LinkedIn, we're doing display ads, we're doing billboards, we're doing TV and connected TV, and there's like so many editors already out there. We're already doing all these different versions and sizes and lengths of videos, 6 seconds and 15-second TikToks and 30-second YouTubes, and we're already doing it. This is how it's going. So why wouldn't you spend the time to get it right with the people? You're spending so much money already on putting all those ads out. Why wouldn't you do it right?
Yes.
I don't know. Why wouldn't they? Laura, do you know?
Maybe it's all about, going into my marketing mindset. Sometimes it's all about audience. Is the Latino audience right for the business? Maybe they're not seeing that, or they don't understand where there are so many different segments of Latinos inside the Latino world. So, I wouldn't be able to tell you. I think that's why we're here. That's why this is so important. And that is why the conversation just needs to keep growing, to keep that messaging and to keep pushing out there that we all come in different colors. We all come in different mindsets, different backgrounds, different, really everything. So it's about taking everybody into consideration according to what your business model is at the end of the day as well.
Yeah. And you know what? It may feel hard and it may feel foreign and weird, but there's people out there that know what they're doing. And guess who they are? Oh, they're Latinos. They know what they're doing.
And at the Latin American Association, one of the things that we love to do is help those corporations or those communities that want to reach the Latino community. We are a resource for those who want to target the Latino community, for those that want to understand our challenges, our wins, our history. We are the Latino community here in Atlanta, and that is one of the things that we love to do, and we are super happy to do with anybody that comes to us and says, I have this event or I have this program. How do I reach the Latino community? This is where my job comes in, and this is where we tell you, this is how you do it according to the people that we serve at the LAA, and how can we collaborate? How can we help you expand your program to more people, to more of the Spanish-speaking community? So there are organizations for those of you that don't live in the state of Georgia. Look for your nonprofits that impact Latinos. Look at your organizations that are your agencies that are Latino driven, and they are your resource. They are the people that you should be contacting if you want to reach to Latinos, because that is our day-to-day, and we understand them and understand ourselves better than anybody. So that is a key important part of my role and the role of the Latin American Association here in Georgia. So
love that. There is an important piece here that you brought up, which is really important, which is education. It's like, we're not here to be condescending about the way that you're doing things. We're more here to be like, I can show you the way.
Yes, exactly. We're a resource.
Yeah, because this makes sense to you. It's going to be helpful to you. Let me show you the way. If we were to try to learn more about the organization where you work, can you let us know where we can find you guys?
Yes, I would invite everybody to search on our social media as at the LAA or the Latin American Association. And I welcome everybody as well to visit our website, thelaa.org, and find more information about how you can get engaged. That is another very important way to get involved with the Latino community. Come to volunteer, come to help out. donate to some organizations that you feel connected with, that the volunteerism opens up a world for you that you might have not seen it, because it brings you directly to where the people are. And that just shows you the needs, it shows you who the people are, and it might change your perspective on the community that you want to serve at. So volunteerism is a key one. And as well, obviously, nonprofits live off donations. So if you have the financial way to do it and feel passionate to do it, donations are always welcome.
All right. Thank you so much, Laura. This was great. And again, I feel vindicated that someone else feels the same way. I feel like sometimes I'm like la loca aquí, just talking on my own here.
You're not on your own. We're all on a mission.
Yes, we're all on a mission. Thank you so much, Laura. Thanks, guys out there. If you want to know more about Laura, her organization, and you missed out on everything she said, you can email me, clem@chancletageneration.com. Let us know what you think about the episode and give us a rating. Share with your friends. Share with your bosses in the marketing world, because
yes,
this is important, guys. Alrighty. All right.
Thank you so much,
guys.
Clemencia, for this opportunity. I love being here.
I love talking about this. I could talk about this all day. So thank you for indulging me in this conversation. Good luck with the organization, and I will be definitely watching you on social media to see what else you're doing. So thanks, guys out there. We will see you next week.
Thank you.